Hello everyone, it's Renee from Bad Outfit Great Lipstick, and today I am finally doing a sun care sunscreen post, video, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to have a table of contents down below, but I do have a disclaimer to get through. If you want to skip over that, just follow the table of contents, and I am going to be looking down some because I have a whole lot of notes, because this is a lot of information. So, just the general disclaimer that I am not a dermatologist, an esthetician, or any kind of skincare expert. I also want to tell you a little bit about my skin. I have very dry, very dry, dehydrated skin, and I'm also quite fair. So it can be kind of hard for me to tell if something has a white cast sometimes, but I do try. And I go out of my way to find sunscreens for my face particularly that are very kind to dry skin. The big ingredient that I avoid in my skincare and in my base makeup, so my foundations, my concealers, anything that would go all over my face, is denatured alcohol. You may also see this written as just the word alcohol, SD40 alcohol, alcohol denat. Those are all the drying alcohol. Some people have no problems with that. I just find if I use products that contain that consistently, my skin gets even drier. It's like it sucks the moisture out, and I get very irritated as a result. As for the actual protection, so the standard number that usually gets thrown around is for your face, you should use at least 1/4 teaspoon of sunscreen, and I do keep a 1/4 teaspoon on my desk so that the first time I try a sunscreen, I can test and see how much a 1/4 of a teaspoon is. A 1/4 of a teaspoon for just your face. If you're doing your neck as well, then 1/2 a teaspoon. Now, when I've spoken to dermatologists, they said that that is a guideline, but you may need less if you're like me and you have a smaller face. You may need more if you have a larger face, if you have more area to cover, or if the sunscreen doesn't spread very evenly. And in the United States, broad spectrum means it blocks UVA and UVB rays. So as long as your sunscreen blocks UVA and UVB, you can call it broad spectrum from what I understand. However, there are two types of UVA rays. There's UVA1 and UVA2. And when I go through the sunscreens, I will mark down the filters and what they block. I'm also going to link to a list of filters down below. Some United States sunscreens will say broad spectrum, but they don't block both types of UVA rays. There are two basic types of sunscreen, and this is really oversimplifying, but there are physical sunscreens, which most people find more gentle on the skin, but they also tend to give you a white cast, which cannot be a good thing if you are dark skinned. It can actually make your skin look gray and ashy. On the other hand, there are chemical filters, which are almost always totally clear, but some people find them sensitizing. I will say that most of my sunscreens are chemical only. I have some that are just mineral and some that are a mixture, but most of them are chemical only. That seems to be what works best for my skin type. Two things about the types of filters. There are two chemical filters, oxybenzone and octinoxate, that may harm ocean life, in particular coral reefs. And in fact, I believe Hawaii has just passed a law saying you can't sell sunscreens that contain octinoxate or oxybenzone in Hawaii anymore because they damage coral reefs. Those are very common sunscreen ingredients. I have listed here which ones are reef safe, which ones do not contain those ingredients, but unfortunately a lot of sunscreens do contain those. Also, from what I understand from experts and people who are really into skincare and dermatologists, the United States is kind of behind the times as far as sunscreen technology goes. There are a lot of really new, amazing filters and sun protection ingredients that are available in places like Europe and in Asia that are not available here in the United States. We're kind of just, we're a little outdated here. Which, now that I've talked for like a solid 5 minutes about disclaimers, we're going to look at the actual sunscreens. So I have my face sunscreens divided into two categories. I have ones for incidental exposure, and then I have ones that provide much stronger protection. So things that I would wear if I was going to be outside all day, if I was going hiking or canoeing, because I experienced canoeing for the first time last year, and now I'm really into it. This first one is the Glossier Invisible Shield Daily Sunscreen Plus with Broad Spectrum SPF 35. This is pretty much the only item I've ever had on an anti-haul, and then I purchased it anyway, but I'm kind of glad I purchased it. So this is $25 for 1 ounce. It is a very lightweight, easy to carry bottle with a pump, and I find this pump pretty easy to control. I do like the packaging. It's quite cute and sleek, fits well in a bag. This is an all-chemical sunscreen. It contains avobenzone, octisalate, I'm sorry, some of these are hard, octisalate, homosalate. There is no UVA2 protection in this, so this is not something I would depend on if I was going to be outside all day. This is completely clear with a lightweight serum texture. Let me take off my engagement ring here. That would be smart. So it's completely clear, and it has this really gorgeous lightweight serum-y texture. So I'm going to pump this on my hand. So on my hand, it looks like that little white dot, but when you blend it out, it is completely clear and it feels very nice. Very serumy and smooth. So if you have dark skin, this is not going to show up on your skin at all. It's totally clear. The only thing is if you have oily skin, I think you might find this a little too dewy. This is definitely something more for normal to dry skin, and that's how I feel about the Glossier range in general. It's a line more for normal to dry skin versus oily. It works really well under makeup, I will say. I haven't had any problems with this under foundations, concealers, blushes, nothing like that. It does contain some, my chair's squeaking, it does contain some citrus oils that some people might find a little irritating. Now, I personally haven't had a problem with it, which is kind of shocking because I do sometimes have problems with the essential oils and the citrus oils. It hasn't given me a problem yet, but some people might find that sensitizing, and frankly, I'm really disappointed that they included it in the formula. It doesn't really do anything, it just kind of makes it smell nice, so I wish they wouldn't have put that in there. And this is technically reef safe. It doesn't contain any of the do not put in the ocean ingredients, but it's not water or sweat resistant. So I've seen people say that they go swimming with this on, but you're really not supposed to. The other Incidental Exposure Face Sunscreen, I'm not even going to open this. I've done a full review and I'll link it, but I'll tell you why I'm not going to open this and show you the texture in just a moment. But this is the Philosophy Renewed Hope in a Jar Skin Tint. They call it a Whipped Water Gel Broad Spectrum SPF 20 Sunscreen. So it's a tinted sunscreen, essentially. This is $39 for 1 ounce in an ill-conceived jar. Please look at my full review for this, because this jar is the most atrocious damn packaging I have ever seen in my life. Every time I use this, I make a mess out of my hands. I'm getting to this point where I think I might just clean out another jar and put this in it, because I can't stand opening this stupid thing up all of the time. It drives me nuts. That said, I really do love this sunscreen. It is chemical and physical. It contains titanium dioxide and it contains octinoxate. No UVA1 protection in this one, unfortunately. Now, it is tinted and it provides light coverage, and I use this in place of foundation. The shade that I have is 2.5 Ivory, and I have been off and on self-tanning my neck and chest, and that is the only way I can really wear this. Otherwise, it's too dark. My neck and chest are very, very light. They're about NC5, but if I self-tan them and make them match my face a little more, then I can get away with this and it's no problem. It looks beautiful on the skin. It photographs pretty well, although if you have flash, it will flash back a little bit. They do have a variety of shades. They go from light to dark, and I'm told the dark shades are actually pretty dark, so that's nice for a change. So I do really love this product. I just wish the packaging was better. I want a tube. I keep bitching about this. Philosophy. Give me a tube. Okay, now I'm going to go into the face sunscreens that provide complete protection. And I'm going to start with the newest one, and it's the one I'm wearing today. This is the Skin Laundry Daily Moisturizer SPF 35. Now, this is the newest one in the collection, so to be clear, I haven't worn it for more than like a month. So it hasn't seemed to break me out, or it doesn't seem to break me out. And I'm not having any irritation, but it is only a month, so that's worth mentioning. You get 1.7 ounces for $25 in a squeeze tube with a pump. And to be clear, I think this packaging is a bit nicer than the Glossier because you can squeeze every last bit out. and you get 0.7 ounces more for the same price. So I do like this one a little more. Plus this one will give you full protection. The filters in it are oxybenzone, avobenzone, octinoxate, and octisalate. So it is full protection right there. UVA1, UVA2, UVAB. It is an all chemical sunscreen. It has this lotion texture and it looks really white. And in fact, it also smells like sunscreen, and it looks really white when you first put it on your hand, but it rubs in completely clear and it's lightly hydrating. So for somebody like me, this is a lightly hydrating sort of day cream, like the name suggests. If you're normal to combination skin, you might also like this in place of your regular daytime moisturizer because it does contain some hydrating ingredients. If you have oily skin, I really don't think you're gonna like this one. And in fact, the few reviews I've seen from people with oily skin called it heavy and greasy and wet looking, so really not made for that skin type. This is definitely for dry skin. I find it quite comfortable. I mean, I'm touching my skin right now. I don't have foundation on, just some concealer. I'm touching my skin and it feels like they're just skin. Like there's nothing, it's weightless. Doesn't seem to hurt my eyes because I used it all around my eyes. So far I am really, really loving this, and I am just praying it doesn't suddenly break me out or something, because I think this could be my new favorite regular use sunscreen. These next two are actually Japanese, and these are the instances where I say the technology is so much better and the texture is so much better. Again, as much as I'm really loving this because it is nice and hydrating on the skin, it is kind of an exception. Most Western sunscreens just can't compare. So this first one is one that I discovered last year and I've been loving. It is the Skin Aqua UV Super Moisture Milk. It's by Roto. And the price on this varies. I get my Japanese sunscreens from eBay. This was about $10 for 1.35 ounces. And these are, they have a little shaker ball in them. And these are in hard plastic bottles with a little squeeze nozzle. So this is a chemical and physical sunscreen with zinc oxide, octinoxate, and Uvinol A+. And Uvinol A+ is a UVA2 filter that I am pretty sure is not legal in the United States yet. It's not FDA approved, but it's in a lot of Asian sunscreens, and it's a very nice filter. So it comes out this really thin, milky liquid, and then you blend it, and it starts to go clear. Now you can see right away, and this will dry down a bit, but I think you can see this one is much shinier. This is really designed for a normal to dry skin. So if you're normal skin and you like something a little dewier, a little less drying, this one will work really well. If you're oily skinned, this is not the one for you, but they do make several other forms of Skin Aqua that you might find a little bit better for your skin type. But it does rub in completely clear, and I have heard from some people online who have darker skin that this goes on clear for them too. This is incredibly tenacious, despite the fact that this is so thin and weightless and it's not hydrating to me, but again, my skin is very dry, but it's not drying. And so despite the fact that this is very comfortable, lightweight, and thin, it really stays on your skin. For something like this, you are going to need an oil cleanser or like a double cleanse to get it off at the end of the night, or else it's not going to come off. You can use this for swimming, you can use it for hiking, really great. This is something I mostly use, not if I'm going to go swimming, but if I'm going to go like hiking or canoeing, because you don't really get in the water if you're canoeing. This is kind of what I go for. It's so good. I can't recommend it enough for dry skin. So that is the Roto Skin Aqua UV Super Moisture Milk SPF 50. Oh, but one thing. I will say, this one can be a little iffy under makeup. It usually works okay, but I have tried a couple of foundations over it, like MAC Face and Body just doesn't seem to work very well over this, and I think it's because this creates almost like a barrier, and MAC Face and Body really needs to have contact with your skin to work well. I am going to take off that, I put way too much of the Skin Aqua on the back of my hand. So I'm going to take that off with a little bit of micellar water. And just micellar, I can never do that word. And just get ready for this last face sunscreen. And this is another Japanese one. So this is the Mentholatum Sunplay Super Block SPF 50. It is about $8 for 0.9 ounces in a hard plastic bottle. that you can squeeze, and it has a nozzle. Once again, you've got your little shaker ball in there. This is chemical and physical. It contains both physical filters, so zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. Those are your two physical filters. And then it also contains octinoxate and euphonol A+. Again, pretty sure that's like an Asia-specific ingredient, and it's a very nice filter. This has a very rich, sort of lotiony texture. It can be a bit heavy, and it can leave a slight white cast. Now, this is one where I use, I'll show you, I use a little bit less than a fourth, so I'm going to rub it in. I use a little bit less than a fourth of a teaspoon because otherwise it does feel a bit heavy. And again, I feel like that's okay for my face, but you be your own master here. So on me, it's relatively clear, but it's not as clear as the Skin Aqua. I think if you had darker skin, this would definitely give you a white cast. But the texture is okay. It's lotiony. It's very emollient. And as long as you don't add a ton, if you go a little bit less, then it's not going to feel too heavy. That said, it is a little bit greasier than what I normally go for, and I say that as somebody with very dry skin. What I really like this for, there's two things I really like this for. Number one, the bottle is super light and tiny. So this is something you can throw in your bag and use it all over your face and body without making your bag really heavy, without carrying a ton of extra stuff. It's really nice for that. And this, I feel, and this could be totally psychological, and it probably is, but this, I feel, gives me better protection than pretty much any others. Now, again, these I haven't had, they give you the full protection, and I haven't burnt with them at all. But this one, I mean, I've used the less than a fourth of a teaspoon and been outside for hours. I've even forgotten to reapply, which I don't recommend, but I've forgotten. I'm human, and I haven't burnt at all. This is very tenacious, very water resistant, very sweat resistant. And I think because it has a bit of a more typical sunscreen feel, that slightly greasier, slightly heavier feeling to it, it just makes me feel like I'm better protected. We are going to go into body sunscreens, and I'm going to start with two that I would not repurchase. So this first one is the Equate Sport Continuous Spray SPF 30. It's all chemical, and it's only $5 for 6 ounces in a spray bottle with this locking lid. So when you want to open it, you twist it, and there's your sprayer. When you're done, you just twist it back, and then it's not going to spray in your bag or anything. So it's really cheap. And this was on the 2017 Consumer Reports Best Sunscreens list. So they tested a bunch of sunscreens to see which really gave the best protection, and this was on their list. And it was so cheap that I was like, oh man, I bet I'm going to love it, and I'm going to try it out. This has a very high alcohol content, so I think that's what makes it go on so clear and relatively light, a little greasy, but relatively light, and also what makes it stay so long, but it reeks really badly. And what's so frustrating about this is the smell lingers. So even after you take a shower, you can still smell this. It's really unpleasant. I'm gonna finish it as quickly as I can this summer and be done with it and never buy it again. So it's the smell, and it's so hard to remove, I just can't tolerate it. So that's the Equate Sport Sunscreen Continuous Spray SPF 30. The other one that I'm not going to repurchase, I don't actually have with me because I decided not to repurchase it, but for a long time it was my favorite, so I really wanted to mention it. It's the La Roche-Posay Anthelios Ultra Light Sunscreen Lotion Spray SPF 60. It's an all-chemical spray sunscreen, and it contains avobenzone, homosalate, octisalate, octocrylene, and oxybenzone. It went on totally clear. It had a bit of a smell at the start, but it faded pretty quickly, and it was not greasy, and it was alcohol-free. It is so hard to find a totally clear body sunscreen that is alcohol-free. The thing is, this thing is stupid expensive. It was $36 for a 5-ounce bottle. And the packaging pissed me off. So again, this one has, and most spray sunscreens have this, where they have the little locking lid. It didn't have that. It just had a cheap plastic cap on top. So paying that much for 5 ounces of spray sunscreen, and I would go through it like crazy. I could do 2 bottles a summer. The packaging is so bad, I just couldn't justify it anymore. and so I don't. I just don't buy it anymore. But it was a really nice sunscreen, and I wanted to mention it. So let's talk about the ones that I would repurchase. I want to start with something that is reef safe. And when I go swimming in the ocean, which almost never happens, I'll be honest, don't have the money to go to the ocean. Nobody wants to go to the ocean with me, forever alone. But also, I'm really funny about being, like, I like to be covered from collarbone to knee most of the time in public, and being in a bathing suit in public is just tough for me. But when I do, this is one that I use all over, including my face. And this is the Blue Lizard Australian Sunscreen SPF 30. I do get the sensitive version. It is all mineral. And this is one that I have repurchased. So I'm going to shake this up. So it's $18 for a 5-ounce bottle like this, and the bottle reacts to UV light. So that's why they call it Blue Lizard. The bottle will turn blue when UV light is hitting it. So let me get this on my hand, and you'll see it is all mineral. And the problem with, or all physical, when you get an all physical sunscreen, you're going to get something that is much greasier, heavier, and whiter. I mean, this is quite thick. You're gonna feel it on your body and on your face. So it's a little heavier. Again, I'm very white, so you probably can't tell, but it's a little greasy and it'll turn white on darker skin. What's nice about this, though, is that even though it doesn't feel great on my face, it's not something I'd want to wear for an 18-hour day around town. For swimming or something, I can wear it and it won't break me out or cause any irritation, and it protects really well. I also use this for hiking a lot. I'll kind of use this like my base layer. So before we get into the car and go, I rub every part of my body with the Blue Lizard, and then I just touch up later with a spray or something like that. But this one gives me great protection. I have gone through several bottles of this stuff. The only thing is, and this is maybe a weird thing, I don't know if you can tell, but the bottle discolors really easily. So this bottle was white when I got it, and now it's kind of turning yellow on the sides. Which, I mean, like, it doesn't affect the sunscreen inside, but it just looks kind of gross. I didn't have that problem with the tubes. I used to buy I want to say the tubes are 3 ounces. I used to buy those, and so I might just go back to the tube. Next, we have the Banana Boat Sun Comfort SPF 50. They say sand easily brushes off, relieves dryness. So I just have a smaller bottle here. That's normally what I go for. And I label my sunscreens from when I opened them. So this is an all chemical sunscreen. This is the mini size, but the full size is $8 for 6 ounces, and it does come in a locking bottle. Again, these have the lids that you can twist closed. The filters are avobenzone, homosalate, octisalate, octocrylene, and oxybenzone, so it's not reef safe. This was also on the Consumer Reports Best Sunscreen list. That's why I got it. It is a completely clear spray, a little greasy at first, but then it rubs into the skin pretty well. And it has that fake banana sunscreen smell that Banana Boat always has. I don't mind it, and I can't smell it that much once it's on my body, but it's definitely there. It's tenacious, and I know I keep using that word, but I mean, like, it's long lasting and it works without being difficult to remove. So, like, both of these are good for swimming and they're not going to rub off easily. This one's a pain in the ass to remove at the end of the day, and the smell will linger even after you shower. This one, not so much. I don't find it terribly difficult to wash off, and the smell doesn't linger on me. When I repurchased this, I always repurchase the mini size. I don't get the full size just because I use this primarily as a touch-up sunscreen. The next one, or rather the last one, I would repurchase, but in a different sort of format. So this is the Australian Gold Continuous Spray Sunscreen with Instant Bronzer SPF 15. This is reef safe. It is all chemical, but the filters are avobenzone, octisalate, and octocrylene. So there's no octinoxate or oxybenzone. You can wear this in the ocean. The only thing is you can't go higher than SPF 15 and still have it be reef safe. As soon as you try to get their continuous spray in the SPF 30 or the SPF 50 or whatever, they start putting in oxybenzone and it's no longer reef safe. But the SPF 15 is reef safe. I don't know if SPF 15 would be enough for me to wear for extended swimming, but it is reef safe. This is $8 for a 6-ounce bottle. Once again, we have that locking mechanism. I love it. And this one has, Australian Gold is kind of famous for their scent, the scent of their products. I don't know how to describe it except to say it's like creamy tropical. It's like a tropical dessert. So a pineapple or coconut fluff or something like that. I don't freaking love it. Like some people just go gaga over it, but I don't mind it. It's not terrible. It's kind of nice actually. And this version is the one with the instant bronzer. So it does have a little bit of a tint to it. Now I'm going to try and spray this in here, which is probably a bad idea. But I'll try to see if I can show you what the bronzer looks like. Okay, let's just really quickly. Oh, I locked it. Okay. Yeah, I would call it like a pineapple fluff. So I have it sprayed on my arm, and I think you can see it's got a bit of a tint, and you rub it in, and it's a very sheer, very natural tint. So there it is on my arm. It's not orange at all. It's super sheer, just a slight bronze. If you apply more, and you really should apply a bit more than I just did to show that to you, if you apply more, it'll be a bit darker, but it's not going to turn orange, and I do appreciate about this. It's really hard to find something with instant bronzer that doesn't turn orange on somebody as pale as I am. So there it is, SPF 15 with instant bronzer. Now this is slightly greasy, especially when you first apply it. Nothing too strenuous, and I'm touching my arm right now and it feels pretty dry, so it'll dry down pretty quickly. What sucks about this is it can rub off on clothing a little bit. Not a ton, but if I'm wearing something like, and I don't wear shorts often because, again, I like to be covered. But if I'm wearing like a light colored pair of shorts, I can't wear this because I'm too nervous that it's going to rub off onto the clothing. I wear it more if I'm wearing like black. So if I have a black dress on, I'll put this on. Or just on my arms when I'm wearing something like this. It is really nice. It's so lightweight, so easy to wear. And again, it is reef safe. It's so hard to find an all chemical body sunscreen that is reef safe. But I will go for the untinted version next time, the clear SPF 15. So that, okay, last but not least, we have some SPF lip balm. So skin cancer on the lips is actually very, very common. People don't think to use SPF on their lips, but it's skin. It needs to be protected. So I've got 3 here, and my personal favorite SPF lip balm, I've gone through several tubes of this. This is the Jack Black Intense Therapy Lip Balm SPF 25. This is all chemical. It contains avobenzone, octinoxate. There's no UVA2 protection, so it's really only for incidental exposure, and it's $7.50 for 0.25 ounces in this little squeeze tube. And one of the things I like about this is you can actually see through this tube a bit, so you can see how much you have left. So I can see mine is like right there, so you can see. This comes in a bunch of different flavors and varieties. My personal favorite is the mint. That's what I have right here. This is quite moisturizing and slightly glossy, so it's something that if you're a man and you're concerned about having glossy lips, you might not like this too much. But I do know a decent number of men who aren't that sensitive about it who use it, but it is slightly glossy, and it is the kind of product that I keep in my purse. It's great for that. Just throw it on and go lip balm. I really, really love this stuff. Even if I don't want, like, if SPF protection isn't even my concern for the day, I still use this. It's just my go-to. The next is Sunscreen Lip Balm, and this is the banana, and this has SPF 30. I bought this because I thought it might be a nice cheap alternative to the Jack Black. It is $4 for 0.15 ounces in a twist-up tube. So of course I wasn't thinking this actually, when you do the cost per ounce, ends up being about the same price. So it is a stick balm, and it has several tropical flavors for the sun bum. They all taste like sunscreen to me. You know, the Jack Black just tastes like a nice minty balm. This one tastes kind of like sunscreen. It's a really fake banana taste and smell, and it's very greasy on the lips. So this is not one that I really enjoy. The filters in here are avobenzone, homosalate, octinoxate, and octisalate. Once again, no UVA2 protection. I'm really just trying to finish this one up. It's not my favorite. And for a reef-safe lip balm, it's a lip sunscreen that you can use in the ocean. This is the Coats lip balm, SPF 45. This one is all physical, and it's $7 for 0.14 ounces in a twist up tube. So this does contain zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. It's all physical, which is why it's reef safe. And you can see in the tube it has like a brown color, and let me see if I can get this to show on my hand. I don't think I'm going to be able to. Okay, there it goes. So when you put this on your, it's right there. So when you put this on your lips, it actually has a bit of a beige tint to it. And I get why they did it, because it is all physical. Physical filters tend to be quite white, and they don't want people's lips turning stark white. I kind of feel, and you can see that it's colored on the cotton round that I just used. I kind of wish it wasn't tinted, just because it makes it look like I'm wearing dark brown lipstick and it's not very flattering. But to be quite frank, I consider this a lip sunscreen, but not a lip balm, because it is not moisturizing. It's not horrifically drying, but it doesn't add any moisture. This is something I use when I just want really strong protection on my lips. If I'm going to go swimming, if I'm going in the canoe, if I'm going to be outside for a long period of time, this is what I go for. And I will say this actually works okay under lipstick. The Jack Black works all right. I'm wearing it today with a little bit of lip liner over it, but it is so glossy and petroleum based that it's going to kind of shear out your lipsticks, and the Sun Bum is so greasy I just can't wear it under a lipstick. This one you can wear under a lipstick if you just pat it in, but again, mostly I use it for long days outside. So it's a very wonderful reef safe lip sunscreen. That is my collection of sunscreens, my favorites, what I like and don't like about them, and I really hope it was helpful. If you have any favorite sunscreens you'd like to tell me about, please let me know, especially if it is a face sunscreen for dry skin with no alcohol. I would love to hear about it, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.